Hello and welcome to this recap video on the Škoda Superb IV. My name is Jordan and I'm a product host here at the Škoda Virtual Showroom in Milton Keynes. So yes, we're going to be going through a recap session here on the new Škoda Superb IV, a little bit about electrification and also the differences between this and the ICE Superb. Welcome to the section on the powertrain. So firstly, you have a 1.4 TSI petrol engine, and that goes in combination with an 85 kilowatt electric motor, and that can deliver up to 218 PS when in sport mode. In terms of the actual range, at the moment as a hybrid, you can get up to 528 miles, or as an electric car, you can get between 32 and 37 miles, and that is currently a WLTP tested figure. In terms of the actual consumption, at the moment we've got between 235.4 to 148.7 miles per gallon, or alternatively, as an electric car, it's currently between 15 and 15.4 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres. In terms of the actual top speed, as an electric car, it's currently 87 miles an hour, which should be completely fine as it's still above the speed limit. Welcome to the section on charging. So there are three ways to charge the Škoda Superb IV. Firstly, you have the regenerative braking system. So this works in the car using the automatic gearbox. What you'll do, you'll move it into D/B and then pull it towards you and it will go into the B mode. When you look on the virtual cockpit, it will have D1 up to D6 and it will now go into B1 up to B6. And this means when you pull it off the accelerator pedal, it will start to slow the car down. Whilst in the Citigo IV there is 4 different levels for recuperation, there is only one in the Škoda Superb IV, meaning that it's always going to be the same amount that you're slowing down when you take your foot off the accelerator pedal. When you do this, it means you're putting a bit of extra charge back into that battery, so you are making the most out of that overall range. The other 2 ways of charging are from plugging in. Firstly, you have a domestic 3-pin plug socket, which will deliver 2.3 kilowatts of power and charge from 0 to 100% in around about 5 hours. And that is your Mode 2 cable. Alternatively, you do have a Mode 3 in the form of a home wall box or a public charging station, and that will deliver up to 3.6 kilowatts of power, and that will take around 3.5 hours to get from 0 to 100%. To plug in, firstly, you need to make sure the car is unlocked. Then you can open up the charging socket and actually plug the charger in. What it will do, it'll initially go orange with a flashing light, and then it will then turn into green. You do have a diagram on the inside which will display all of the different colours and what they mean. So firstly, if it's a solid green, it means it's fully charged. If it's a flashing green, it means it's now charging. Or an intermittent green, it means you have set up a delay timer. We'll show you how to set up on the eManager with departure times a little bit later on this video. Welcome to this section on difference in spec between the ICE version and the new Škoda Superb IV. Firstly, in terms of the different grille, you do have a completely enclosed grille now, rather than any ventilation coming out from a petrol or a diesel version. Other things as well, you do now have the MIB3 units on the inside of the car, as seen on the Scala and the Comique, and that is in comparison with the MIB2 that you see on the standard Superb. And in terms of the boot space, you do now have a difference in that as well. Firstly, on the estate version that I have here, it's gone from 660 litres down to 510. And on the hatch version, it's gone from 625 down to 485. But that is still a very big boot, even for a car of this size. You also have an enclosed section in the boot as well, solely for your charging cables. Continuing on to the inside of the vehicle, there are now differences to the virtual cockpit. Firstly, you still have the fuel range on the right-hand side, but now you also have on the left-hand side the battery range. Also, now integrated on the digital dials is the power meter, almost acting as an electric rev counter. With the new eManager inside of the vehicle, you can now set up different departure times based on the fact you might be leaving for work or other things at the same time every day. For example, if you work Monday to Friday and know you need to leave at 8 AM, you can make sure the car is charged for when you leave. The eManager also allows you to adjust the air conditioning, allowing you to personalise the temperature inside of your vehicle. All of these features can also be used in the Škoda Connect app. When you start the vehicle, it will begin in electric mode, and you'll be able to tell this as it will say ready on the virtual cockpit. You can change this, however, by pressing the E-mode button next to the gear stick. This will display on the infotainment system E-mode or hybrid. If you click on hybrid, it'll allow you to switch between auto or manual. If you have it in manual, this will mean you can then set a maximum amount of charge that you want to use on the vehicle. Next to the gear stick you have the fuel cap release button. This will need to be pressed in order to release the hydrocarbons that have been built up inside of the fuel tank, and this can be caused by an extended use of the electric battery alone. Welcome to this section on customer objections. One of the things they might come to you about is the fact that the boot space is a little bit smaller than the traditional ICE version. And although this is the case, it isn't a dramatic change. Instead of having around 600 litres, it's now around 500, which is only smaller than a Karoq, so there shouldn't be too many problems there. Another thing is that they're not fun to drive. This is very much not the case, as you still get 218 PS in this car, which is still very quick even for a car the size of a Superb. What you also have is that the charging can sometimes take too long, and although it may not be as quick as going to a petrol station and filling up for a couple of minutes and going away again, you can use the car for the whole day, go back home in the evening and charge for a few hours then if needs be. The cost of hybrid and electric vehicles always comes up from customers as well. However, the actual increase from this Superb IV is only a few £1,000s more than the combustion version. For example, the SE Technology starts from around £31,000 and the SEL around £35,000, so the increase is not too much. Also, you will claim some of that money back from fuel expenses, as a lot of the customers will be solely using the battery alone. Also, for company car drivers, at the moment the BIK is 16%, and in April that's going down to 10%, so another incentive to get this for your next company car.